Welcome into Ravens Rundown. Tyler Jones here with your next day recap as we bring you the winners and losers from last night's performance from your Baltimore Ravens as they fell to the Washington Commanders 29-28. It was a close game, came right down to the wire, but ultimately the 24-game preseason win streak and NFL record has concluded as the Commies get the job done. It was not for a lack of effort. The Ravens were in this game from start to finish. Josh Johnson was very solid through the air, 10-12 through the air, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Melvin Gordon led the Ravens in rushing with 8 carries for 34 yards. Charlie Kolar with 2 catches for 61 yards. Sam Howell in the first-team offense got the start for the Commanders. Compared to the Ravens, who did not play most of their first-teamers, Sam Howell was 19-25 through the air, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Rodriguez with 5 carries, 31 yards, and Jahan Dotson with 5 receptions and 76 yards. So with that, let's get to the winners for your Baltimore Ravens last night. Got to start with Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers was absolutely incredible. The last preseason game, Zay Flowers still had an impact without really doing that much on the stat sheet. Last night, the stat sheet came alive as Zay Flowers delivered 2 catches for 37 yards and a touchdown. And the way that he was just able to shift through the Commanders' defense and make his moves against that Commanders' first-team defense, I mean, it was a sight to behold. And hopefully a sign of good things to come throughout the rest of this season. Nobody could stop Zay Flowers. If he would have played the entire game, they would have just thrown to him every time, and the Commanders would have had no hope. I mean, I believe the potential is there for him to be the best receiver this franchise has ever seen. Now, some folks are already calling him the best receiver this franchise has ever seen, but I was just amazed. I mean, he caught my attention immediately. You couldn't miss him. He was the best player on the football field last night. Zay Flowers was. He was unreal with what he was able to do. And just think, we haven't even seen him in live action yet with Lamar Jackson. His best football is still yet to come. It's just the beginning for Zay Flowers. He was terrific. Who was your biggest winner last night against Baltimore? Was it Zay Flowers? Was it somebody else? Weigh in. Tell us in the comment section who your biggest winner was, and let us know what you think. Give us a player that comes to mind. Folks, we had a heck of a time on the watch party last night. Myself, Trizzy Trace, we were here live on the channel. We gained over 300 subscribers. Just an incredible milestone as we're gearing towards 11,000 subscribers now. And I got to tell you, if you missed out on last night's watch party, don't worry. So we have more watch parties to come throughout the season, including later this weekend. We still have our daily news and rumors segments. We also bring in you mailbags, breaking news, and more. If you love your Baltimore Ravens, folks, this is the channel for you. Subscribe now for free. Join the family. Join the flock here on Ravens Rundown. Subscribe now. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. You'll be glad you did. To the losers list, let's bring in James Proche II. I got to tell you, I look at James Proche, and I'll be real with y'all. This is a guy that is disappointing. He should be doing more than what he does. The little mistakes here and there that are just piling up. He had 1 catch for 7 yards, while other guys like Tylan Wallace and Zay Flowers and some of these other receivers are stepping up. James Proche is not doing that in making mistakes and making mistakes on special teams too. What's frustrating is I would understand with James Proche if he was a first or second year player, little mistakes, things you could overcome. It's year 4 now for this guy, and he's still making these silly mistakes that he does. It's just unexcusable. He doesn't play like a veteran. I would expect more out of James Proche. He needs to do better than what he's been doing. Back to the winners list. Let's go to quarterback Josh Johnson. And Josh Johnson, I mean, this guy was really good. He showed a lot of command for this offense. I mean, think about this. Todd Monken put this offense in place over the offseason. And Josh Johnson looked like he had been playing in this offense for years. 10-12, 145 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He looked a hell of a lot better than when we saw him last in the NFC Championship game, in that 49ers-Eagles game. And to think he was going up against first-teamers for the Commanders here on defense, I really liked what I saw from Josh Johnson. Here's the thing. Josh Johnson came to Baltimore to compete with Tyler Huntley for the number 2 quarterback job. That's not happening. Huntley's going to be your number 2 quarterback. That's a foregone conclusion at this point. But with the new league rules, and they were talking about this on the broadcast last night, Joe and Troy were, about the emergency quarterback, the number 3 quarterback that doesn't count against the active roster. What Josh Johnson did do, although he's not going to be the number 2 quarterback, he made a case for the Ravens to hold on to him to be that emergency number 3. If they decide to do that, Josh Johnson made a case that he deserves that opportunity to do so. He made one mistake, sure, but otherwise he showed poise and that he knows how to run this offense competently. I liked what I saw from Josh Johnson for the most part. Back to the losers list. Trenton Simpson. Trenton Simpson. I'll say this. I like Trenton Simpson. I think he's got a bright future. But he was making a lot of mistakes. I mean, he was just a mess. Sure, he had 3 tackles. He had a sack as well. But he was just not where he needed to be at times. And I think with Trenton Simpson, this was a guy that the Ravens drafted in the 3rd round at Clemson, and there was the expectation by some people that he could be ready to go to step in the place of Patrick Queen, that then you could move on from Patrick Queen, trade him, and start Trenton Simpson. What we saw tonight is, and I'll say this, with Trenton Simpson, this is not something that I think he can't overcome. It's just the reality where things are right now. Trenton Simpson's not ready to be a starting linebacker in the NFL. Could he be someday? Could he be a very good linebacker someday? Absolutely he could be. But at this point in time, at this moment, he's still very raw. He still makes rookie mistakes. And that's okay. That's fine. He does that. Could he be ready down the road? Absolutely. But at this point in time, that stage, that platform is not for his at the moment. That could change later, but not right now anyway. Who was the biggest loser? I got one more loser to get to here in just a second. But weigh in, tell us in the comments section. We've named a couple. Tell us what you think, who the biggest loser was in the comments section. Let me know. Next on our winners list, I got to go with my boy Charlie Kolar. If you've been watching this show for any length of time, you know I love Charlie Kolar. When the Ravens picked him up from Iowa State, I said to you guys, this is like getting Mark Andrews 2.0. And he missed most of last season with that sports hernia injury. I was disappointed in that. Isaiah Likely played pretty good last year. And the thing I've been telling you guys, I think Kolar's just as good as Isaiah Likely. He just needs an opportunity. Last night was a breakthrough. He finally was able to showcase the talent that I've been talking about for a year now. 2 catches, 61 yards. His route running, the way he was able to get open, get down the field, I was very impressed. And he looked like Mark Andrews. So all of a sudden, this is a game changer for the tight end room. When you're talking Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kolar, things are going to open up. Now you provide some flexibility. If there's an injury or something too, now you have some depth potentially. Charlie Kolar changes this offense completely, just being available and playing at a high level. Expect more to come from Charlie Kolar. Last on the list, on the losers list, we point our attention towards Corey Mayfield Jr. Now, the Ravens, I've said, even though there was a loss, there's a lot of positives to take away from this game. There's one big negative. It was the pass defense. Granted, you're down, 5, 6 plus corners. You're going to give up some. That's going to happen. Corey Mayfield got ripped apart. It was not a good night for Corey Mayfield. He had 6 tackles, but gave up a lot of big plays, was out of place at times, was not a good night for Corey Mayfield. And for the case for Corey Mayfield to make the 53-man roster, it was not a strong case by his performance. Granted, didn't have much help. I understand that, but it wasn't good. Sam Howell and company just picked apart. I mean, heck, even Jake Fromm looked good against the Ravens. Jake Fromm. I didn't even know Jake Fromm was still in the league. I thought he was selling insurance for State Farm. But nonetheless, Corey Mayfield, not a great night for him. One more winner. I'm going to point to former Oklahoma State Cowboy Tylan Wallace. And this is another guy I've been telling you that I watched him a lot in the Big 12. He was terrific. He was a great receiver at Oklahoma State. Dealt with several injuries there. A guy that just needs an opportunity. Saw a nice touchdown grab from him, 1 catch, 7 yards and a touchdown. But on top of that, did really well in blocking patterns. I liked what I saw from Tyler Wallace. I hope there's more of that to come from Tyler Wallace. I think he's on the 53-man roster. Now let's see him continue to make an impact there. How would you grade the Ravens' performance? It doesn't feel like that bad of a loss, with all things considered. With knowing where the Ravens were at, shorthanded at corner, taking on the first-teamers of the Commanders, I don't think that was that bad of a loss. Grade it for me in the comment section. A, B, C, D, or F, what you think of the Ravens' performance last night. Appreciate you joining us on the channel today as well as on the watch party last night for continuing Ravens coverage. We are the channel for you. Stick around. We have you covered all week long here on Ravens Rundown. I'm Tyler Jones. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us here on the channel.